Welcome to Matrix Live, Season 2, Episode 20. We're getting to the end of the season.
Yeah,
We need
still.
something exciting to talk about.
Oh, no, I think there's lots of exciting things to talk about. And I think in the next. Well, in fact, this is precisely what we said last episode. Or I
Is
said
it?
last episode. Because you
Sorry.
were. Where were you last week? You were working, I think. No, we skipped it last week because I was. No, I can't remember. What did happen last week? It's not
I
very
don't
important.
remember. No, it's not very important.
I
You
think.
can still check, but...
Oh, we were knackered. We were dead. It was on the beanbags in the meeting room, and we
yeah.
were absolutely exhausted. And
Yeah, we did record, but we did talk about the end of the season, so we stopped.
Let's not repeat the same cliches. Anyway, I still think, as I did last week, that there'll be interesting things to happen in the next couple of weeks. So let's see.
In the meantime, a very interesting thing happened this week, and actually today.
It is.
Today is...
Happy GDPR Day, everybody.
Yay!
So this is the General Data Protection Regulations enforced by the EU that everybody and their world, everyone, and their dog and everybody basically knows all about. And I think we're obviously sick of it, to say the least. It's good regulation, but it's been a couple of weeks of solid sprint to trying to pull together all the different bits of Matrix to be GDPR compliant. Good news is that we've done it. It's been a real effort to go and coordinate everything, but as far as we know, we're compliant, and to the extent at least that is required for May the 25th, which is the go live today.
So basically, it's gone from the legal document and Riot's web, Riot mobile, server specifications. Well, I think it touched all the bits of the whole company, basically.
Basically, the whole project, indeed. So, what does this mean? First of all, we've got entirely new privacy policy, and it doesn't suck. Hopefully everybody will agree that the new one is a lot better than what we've had historically, and also new terms and conditions, also new copyright policy, also new cookie policy. Now, basically all the legalese you could possibly hope for, although we've made a real effort to try to write it in English rather than legalese. Feedback would be very welcome. It's all on GitHub. PRs are very welcome to help us fix bugs and refine it. So that's basically phase one. We've gone and put the opt-in system, not opt-in, the acceptance system running earlier today. Honestly, this has been a mess, and we should apologise for rushing through the system alerts system that we set going yesterday. The whole point here is that we have to tell people that the policy has changed, and we need to force them to read the thing before using the server. Otherwise, the court would see that we're not actually that we're not giving people reasonable cause to actually agree to this thing if we're letting them use it without having agreed to it. So that's what all the fuss has been about. We screwed up because we didn't tell people about the new bot before it went wild and messaged everyone.
So it was a bit scary to people.
Yep.
In the end.
There's also an interesting thing about trying to make something not look like phishing. It turns out the more urgent you make something look, the more fishy it looks. So even if it is an urgent thing, the moral of the story, folks, is don't make it look too urgent, otherwise everybody thinks it's phishing. And also tell everybody on the blog and Twitter and Matrix that it's happening. Sorry for the confusion that it caused. The other mass panic was that you couldn't leave the alert room.
Yeah, maybe you should say what it looks like in case people didn't see it. It's called System Alerts, and it's inviting you to a one-to-one conversation to send you important messages. It's a big red flashing exclamation mark, so you probably won't miss it. But don't panic, this is normal, this is us trying to do the right thing.
Indeed. Either way, it's getting better now. You can now leave that room if you want. At first, we didn't let people do it because they have to see the consent URL. But once we sent through the consent URL, we're letting people leave the room. So that's good news if you just wanted to get rid of the thing. And the last count, we turned on the consent thing a couple of hours ago, and we've had over 5,000 people already accept the new policies. So that's looking good. We're actually going to wait until Tuesday to enforce it, and at that point, anybody using the matrix.org server who hasn't clicked the annoying accept link will start getting 400 errors back with containing the URL that they have to click in order to proceed. This is going to be a pain, I'm sure. We've tried to do it so that it works on all clients. Riot special cases it a bit to make it look prettier, but the idea is that it should really work for everybody out there. Apologies come Tuesday if you tried to use Matrix one day and everything errors at you, but please just click the link and it will then all be fine. Also, lots of back and forth on the correct legal justification for the data model of Matrix, full stop, but we finally got a lot of legal feedback from UK data protection lawyers who advise the direction things have gone, and so it's nice that what we have is all properly legally grounded. The basis, by the way, is, what's it called again?
Legitimate interest.
Yeah, legitimate interest is the legal basis for the whole thing, that basically says that, hey, because you're using a federated communication system, we need to be able to take your data and federate it with other people.
And also that, very simply, we use the data that we use it to provide you the service. We don't use it for anything else. It's to be able to send messages. Let me close the door, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Shopping trolleys outside. Yes. Yeah. Do you talk about Erasure? Yeah. So that's the other thing, that because it's currently impossible to totally erase events, and especially state events, in a room. So basically, if we go and redact, or if we delete state events such that you can't see who sent them, and then refuse to serve them over Federation, it's going to break the room entirely. So there is actually a whole dedicated policy, which is linked through to this whole legal maze that justifies the fact that by using a Matrix server, even if you do choose to remove yourself from the system, your state events are still going to be hanging around for now, although we are still working on the long-term plan to remove MXIDs, at which point we can just strip the MXID and the events will disappear. Or at least they will be sufficiently anonymous that they can be considered to disappear. I know that somebody else is interested in this. I think we've kind of got Stockholm Syndrome, having been working on it for 2 weeks, and the only thing we want to talk about is GDPR.
I think, yeah, I don't know. But
at least phase 1 is done. We started receiving our first GDPR requests. Yay. This obviously involves a whole bunch of work on our side, so please consider whether you really want to make us run around chasing lots and lots of data for you. The erasure work is in progress now, and we have 30 days effectively to get it in place such that we can action any requests we receive from the 25th onwards. It's looking fairly promising, though. You can track it on GitHub in the Riot Meta projects Trello Kanban board thing if you desire. What else? And yeah, finally, we are going ahead and removing MXIDs, although it's somewhat lower priority than it was before, but it's very much something that we want to do and that, legally speaking, we really should be doing.
Yeah.
Well, what else is happening?
Well, looking at what has been going around Riot Web, well, there has been a release to do all the GDPR stuff. It's 0.15.4 out today, but it brings also various bug fixes and performance regression fixes. So hopefully there is more than GDPR stuff in it. Riot Mobile, same thing, GDPR capable releases. iOS went out like a few hours ago. Android is on its way.
We should probably say that the GDPR capability here is the ability to handle this whole privacy policy acceptance flow nicely in a seamless manner, pretty way. And also adding in the account deactivation buttons on iOS and Android, which has been missing so far. I think they missed this particular release, but there'll be another one early next week too.
Yeah, I think today it will just tell you use Riot Web to deactivate, but at least you have a way to go and find it. Sticker sending is almost ready. There are some CSS bugs that will be fixed, so it should be pushed shortly next week.
On Riot Mobile.
On Riot Mobile, sorry. And then on Synapse, same thing, GDPR policy management is arriving in Synapse 0.30. And it means that it brings the capability to send server notices for everyone, anyone, which is quite a nice thing to do.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, me too.
Literally, the very first thing I ever did when I first played with the Matrix home server in the form of Synapse, like version 0.0000001 back in September, or I think, yeah, it was September 2014, was to sit down and think, it didn't send me a message of the day. I would really expect if I logged into somebody's server for it to tell me what was going on and what the urgent updates were. So I filed the very first Synapse bug, Sin1 on Jira, which is now migrated to some godforsaken GitHub ID. And I think this basically closes it.
Yeah.
Our first ever bug.
It's
grown up at last, only 4 years old. Anyway.
And we have Notifile and Amber Hawkal.
Yeah,
do you pronounce it? Hawkal. Sorry, my English pronunciation.
What's an owl in French?
In chouette.
A what?
In chouette.
Chouette?
Yeah.
Isn't that a
pretty.
type of cauliflower or something? A choux?
I know.
Choux is a cabbage.
Choux is cabbage.
Chouette
is
a small cabbage, a flying cabbage. What kind of crazy language is this? So yes, Amber, the unpronounceable Hawkal, who joined us on Monday, working full-time on Synapse, and it's wonderful to have support on the Synapse side of things. And yeah.
So what they're doing, Notifile and Amber, is actually Python 3 upgrade.
Yeah, so Notifile's been working on Python 3 for ages. Hawkal has now come in with a, you should work out whether she wants to be Amber or Hawkal for public purposes. Either way, she's come in and has a lot of experience with Python 3, having done the twisted port from Python 2 to 3, for instance, and is working with him going and pulling it all together. So we should expect to see Python 3 coming a lot sooner than later on Synapse, which will be great because it will reduce our memory footprint by a factor of 4, and it should speed things up by at least 5-10% just because the VM's a bit faster and so on and so forth. Exciting times.
Yeah, that's great. And on Dendrite, so we have Anoa actually on the case full-time. He joined us Monday, and Dendrite is already sending events to ASs.
In fact, we got the demo just now.
Yes, we did.
It was super exciting to see Dendrite on its legs again.
Can I flash the picture of the demo because it was pretty fun.
You took a picture of the demo?
I took a picture of the demo with everyone looking over his shoulder.
Looking very, very serious. And there's everybody looking over Anoa or Andrew's shoulder. And at Visual Studio Code with a Dendrite inside going and sending events to an AS. So the reason we're doing this is because we want to shift Freenode off onto a Dendrite as quick as we can as an easy sacrificial lamb. Let's face it can't get much more broken than it is already on Synapse today, and it's obviously very high traffic, so it would be good to see how that goes. And that's a goal, I think, for the next month or two on Dendrite, to really get one in production, and doing that.
Yeah.
It's fun times.
I think that's it.
It is. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
And happy GDPR.